Welcome to the Location Independent Startup Show. Here we discuss business, lifestyle design, personal development, and much more with some very special guests and experts who have been there and done that. Learn how to live life on your terms with me as your host, British entrepreneur and investor, John Cavendish. Okay, so welcome back to the Location Independent Startup Show. Today with me, I have Gerard, a really good friend of mine and a serial e-commerce entrepreneur in the e-commerce and supply chain solutions space. Hey, Gerard, thanks for coming on the show.
Welcome, John. Nice to have you too.
So whereabouts in the world are you right now, being that we're all kind of stuck at home?
Yeah, interesting that you're saying the location independent podcast show. Actually, I'm having a very location dependent life and business currently bunkered down in Amsterdam.
Nice. I mean, I can think of worse places to be, especially in the summer.
Yeah, it is. It's not, I would say, when I talk with friends around the world that are, let's say, I would say locked up in Bangkok with curfews and unable to buy alcohol and things like that. Things in Amsterdam are not that bad. We have like a social distancing policy, so you should remain 1.5 meter distance. You can go out just on the street if you want without a reason. So that's already, I think, a big thing. For example, let's say in Belgium, you aren't allowed to go out with a specific person. So let's say the only specific purpose should be going to a supermarket or helping other people or something.
Yeah. I found that really interesting as well. Like that Thailand banned the sale of alcohol, because I would have thought people are at home, like all they be doing is drinking and chilling, relaxing.
Yeah, I heard that the reason was that, sales of alcohol that stimulates that people get together, and that's not something they want. So they were like, yeah, just ban the alcohol. But yeah, well, before they introduced the ban, people were hoarding alcohol. So I'm not sure to what extent it is useful, but
yeah, I mean, we were getting delivery beer in Vietnam. Delivery beer, delivery wine, stacking up at home. It's all good. So in Vietnam, I'm sure the alcohol sales went up outside of the bars, obviously, which are all closed.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I mean, I think it's super interesting to talk about your business model, because I know there's two things I'm super interested in, actually. I mean, one is your awesome, PR success story, which you told at a conference, which we were both at last year. Actually, two conferences. I've seen your story twice. And the other one is what you're currently doing, which we were talking about earlier just before this recording started, which I thought was really cool and kind of just like a good insight into what's actually happening in the world. Because there's lots of people making huge amounts of money, I see at the moment, trading supplies, trading medical supplies and moving things around the world. Mm-hmm. So maybe first we can go into, PR, because you are the best guy I know at PR and drumming up, PR for businesses, whereas most people I know do, internet marketing, buying traffic, SEO. You've been featured in some really, really big publications and on some really big news.
Yeah, so let me see. So actually, the story you're hinting at wasn't the first, I would say, PR success. I've always had a kind of vision that I wanted to sell things organically. I've never liked the idea of, let's say, shoving down products someone strode by ads or something like that. That never appealed to me. So it was already more than, I think it's around 10 years ago, when I was still in university and discovered that you could actually sell things on the internet, that I made a website where I was selling iPhone dummies. So iPhone dummies are, let's say, phones without the electronics inside of it.
So fake phones.
Yeah, exactly. And the marketing idea was there that you would buy such a phone and then do a practical joke with it, and then you would get replacements. So, for example, it was in the times of the iPhone 3G was just released. It was like a huge thing. And you would buy such a dummy, and say you were sitting in a bar with a friend and he has the new iPhone 3G. You would put it in a glass of beer or something, and then take a video or photo of his reaction. And actually what you're doing is using the iPhone dummy. And yeah, that went viral. We got featured in in a lot of media, and I think the biggest one was Time magazine. So that's when I kind of learned that with the right marketing story, the right angle, you can sell anything, and it doesn't need to be a new product. It can be just an existing product, but with the right story, you can twist it in such a way that you can sell it. So yeah, that's what that was 10 years ago. We did, I would say, similar things with drones. We were private labeling drones, and we were actually making the smallest drone in the world, but nobody claimed that it was the smallest drone in the world. So we told media, hey, this is the smallest drone in the world. And they were like, oh, wow, this is indeed the smallest drone in the world.
It was the same product. Sorry to interrupt that. That was the same product that other people were already selling. You just got the private label and branded it smallest drone in the world.
We were very early, of course. I mean, it's not that those things were already existing for a year, but if you would search for it, you could find them. But it was just that nobody thought of the idea that you could tell media this is the smallest drone in the world. Look how cool that is. So yeah, continuing throughout the years, we did a variety of other products which had like a minor success. These were like the biggest success. And then we got into, I think last year when, it's actually already a few years ago, when Apple introduced the AirPower. The AirPower was supposed to be
a wireless charging mat.
A wireless charging mat. So what Apple said is this: it was supposed to be a wireless charging mat on which you can charge your iPhone, Apple Watch, and wireless AirPods. But what they wanted to do is they wanted to create a surface where you could just throw your devices on, and they started magically charging instead of positioning them on the charging coils. And for this, they wanted to put, I believe 30 or 40 charging coils in a relatively small surface. And while they probably would be able to technically achieve it, very likely they would never be able to get like approval by the FDA, FCC, and CE because of the interference and so. It's very likely it would be like kind of an open air microwave. So Apple
maybe like
already
cook things or get things warm, or let your watch if you put your watch on it, like expensive watch, and it starts to like get hot.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could use it, but you would need to wear like an aluminum hat or something, things like that.
I love the idea of somebody charging their phone while wearing like gloves, their convenient wireless charging mat.
Oh no, I mean, yeah. But Apple already showed the product in their press conference.
Yeah.
And what always happens when Apple shows a product is that immediately in China they start making clones of it. So before this product was released, there were already manufacturers in China saying, hey, this is this is more or less the same, but just you can charge 3 devices on it, your phone, your watch, and your wireless AirPods, but you just have to position them in the right place.
Yeah.
And so that was already available in China with manufacturers. And then I think it was early 2019, Apple, after 1.5 years, something said, okay, this AirPower is never coming to the market. And that was pretty unique because Apple never canceled a product in their whole history. When they made a claim, hey, we're going to launch it, then they will launch it. So that was a pretty big thing. But yeah, combine it, having the knowledge that, like a variation of this product was already available in China. And with this news, I was like, okay, I can draft a marketing story here that we are bringing the AirPower more or less to the market. Not as exactly technically as Apple wanted it to be, but it's the closest thing to what you get to the AirPower. So yeah, we registered the domain AirUnleased. We called it, the AirUnleased. What's the actual tagline? It's already been a while, but we were like, hey, this is the next next best thing you can get from the AirPower, and we started pitching it to media, and they liked the idea, and that got us featured on Marques Brownlee, Unbox Therapy, and loads of other smaller media and YouTubers.
So what did it look like? So did it actually look like the AirPower?
Yeah, it actually looks like the AirPower. That's because Apple showed some pictures of it. Yeah. So, I mean,
and is there a design patent on that? If something looks similar to an Apple product? I mean, I would have thought like anything close to Apple, I'd be worried about them, suing me.
Yeah, so there is like, I would say, there are patents on the technical insights on it, but there is not like the actual thing is just, I would say, around surface. I actually have one here.
Oh, so cool. So if anyone's watching, so it's like, actually see one.
Yeah. So it's just,
so it has two plus signs on it. So you have, it's like double, is it? So it just charges two things at once.
Actually three. So there's like one indent for the Apple Watch.
Ah, cool. It's like an indent
for the wireless charger, for the AirPods, and one for the phone. So no, there's not like a design pattern on this, like, let's say, an oval shaped charging thing that would be very generic, I think. And then again, it can only be a copy if it is a product that's actually on the market. So I think we were pretty safe there. And technically, the inside is way different there.
What about the name, like AirPower versus AirUnleased? Was that an issue at the time, or was that okay?
No, that wasn't an issue. We of course, AirPower was a registered trademark. AirUnleased, not. So we chose that one. But of course, there was of course a little bit of risk on it, but we were like, okay, we did our research, and it had to be a little bit edgy, and so far so good, I would say.
Cool. I mean, that's an awesome story, and I really like the fact that you've done this many times over. So it's like something that you've done and that you can do all over again. So when you're coming up with an idea and you want to pitch something to media, you come up with an idea, then do you actually manufacture the product first, or do you kind of pitch the idea first before you do any manufacturing to see if there's traction, if the whole kind of marketing strategy for this product is going to be media?
So what we did with the AirUnleased was we had a manufacturer that could manufacture it within 3 weeks. So we had like a MOQ. So what we did is we just put on the website and said that the product would deliver in 3 weeks, and then we would get orders. And we were like, okay, if we get like after press release, we get some traction, then we would put in our first order.
Nice. So MOQ, if anyone doesn't know, is it minimum order quantity?
Yeah.
So what was the approximate MOQ on this? 1,000 units, 5,000?
It was only 500.
500. No, that's good.
Yeah.
Nice. So before you put in that order, did you have some traction before that? Before you put in the order for the first 500, or because you said you got some pre-orders before you did that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so with the initial press release, we announced the product, but we didn't have the actual product in stock. But so actually, most media would be like, yeah, this is cool, this is nice, but we're not going to write about it unless, you can send us a sample and then we will have a look at it. Because a lot of people were probably suspecting that it was like some vaporware or some kind of Kickstarter thing, and that's probably never going to market. But yeah, we got like I think we even emailed the New York Times, and the journalist of the New York Times even replied to us and said, hey, well, send us a sample and we'll have a look at it. And that was for us enough to pull the trigger and say, okay, we'll go for our first manufacturing round. We're going to send samples massively to a huge amount of journalists and YouTubers, and let's hope that it will resonate. So it was a bit of a, I would say, gamble, but in the end it was 500 units. Let's say if it fails, we would be able to dump it through some closeout or something, because our margins were pretty high.
Oh, that's great. So you said you did a press release. So how do you do a press release, and how do you know where to send it? Is there somewhere you actually put a press release, or is a press release just something you've written which you send to journalists?
That's a good point. So our strategy is almost always What we always try to do is get like a hooking point. So actually the whole idea with the wireless charger came from a marketing perspective. So what often happens is usually people have like, oh, I got this amazing product. Now I need to find out how to sell it. With the AirUnleased, it was the other way around. So what we had was this thing being manufactured already in China, and we got the news that the AirPower was canceled. So together with that, we put on the marketing story on more or less an existing product. And one of the most important things is that we would target journalists that wrote about the cancellation of the AirPower. So instead of, I would say, let's say a cold, maybe a little bit awkwardish press release and say, oh, hey, journalist, look at this cool product I made. And they would be like, yeah, I don't give about suitcases with Wi-Fi or, whatever. Instead of that, we would say, hey, journalist, recently you wrote about the cancellation of the AirPower. Well, guess what we are launching today? It's the best alternative for the AirPower. And then they would be like, oh, so you would show that you read their article. And they were, and of course, it's so much different than, let's say someone reaches out to you, John, and says, oh, can I be on your podcast? Or if someone says, oh, I listened to last episodes about this and this and that, it was very interesting. I got this and this, can I be on your podcast? So I think that's what a lot of people forget, is like really get into the engagement. And of course, if you have, let's say, if you already put, let's say, the title of the article someone wrote in the subject, that's so much different than, oh, in the subject, oh, look at my product or something.
Cool. So actually you researched by searching for those articles, you made a list, or you got someone else to make a list of all of these articles that happen to be about the cancellation, and then you kind of built an outreach sequence based on that.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's pretty straightforward. We would just search for anyone who wrote about the AirPower in, let's say, more or less media, any media that you can find in Google News or anything. Then find the names of those persons and the email addresses, and then you would do like a very customized targeted reach out.
Nice. And how many people did you outreach to, if you remember, in the end?
I think a few hundred. I mean, initially, I think 50 to 100, and then we got a proper response rate on that. And the second we scaled it up and we did a few hundred, and we did also, I would say, also more cold outreach to like Unbox Therapy, Marques Brownlee, and so on.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, they're channels that I follow, like probably the biggest tech channels on YouTube. And I saw your product reviewed before I realized it was your product. I saw you posting about it like a week after I saw it being reviewed. Oh, that was super cool.
Yeah, we've heard that's, sometimes you don't realize how many people watch those channels. I mean,
especially people in our network, like people in our community, like we all follow like a very small circle. And I forget that sometimes that we're in a bubble. Like, Tim Ferriss, 4 Hour Work Week, life hacking people, tech people. And then I talk to somebody else outside of our network and they don't know anything about anything that we know about. Yeah. So true. I think it's very interesting. Yeah.
So that's how people were like, when I told them, oh, we made this wire, they were like, oh wow, I saw it on Marques Brownlee or Unbox Therapy. It's like, whoa. Yeah, I mean, of course, millions of people watch it, and then actual people watch it. That's pretty cool.
That's very cool. So you've got this, you've reached out to all these people, you've got a list. Did you give away a certain number of units to these people?
Yeah, so I would say our marketing cost was, giving away. We would send samples to all those media. And of course, when you send out 100, 200 samples, like some they just don't reply and some get lost and some they don't get back. But I think we still got a pretty good conversion rate. I think it was around 50% or something. So yeah, that would be our marketing investment cost. Outside that, we did not pay any reviewer anything. It's all sending a sample and we took a little bit, I would say, an arrogant stance in that. So we were closely looking at how Apple does their marketing. Apple is not going to say, hey, "Oh, can you please review my product?" Or
Yeah, they make
blah,
people
blah,
buy it
blah,
full
or,
price.
yeah, and they would be just so we would be just like towards you so towards YouTubers, and so we would just say, "Hey, I want to review this product," and they would maybe say, "Oh, do you have any affiliates or discounts, or can buy on Amazon?" We're like, "No, this is just what it is, and take it or leave it." And it was a bit of a gamble, but it resonated pretty well.
Oh, that's really cool. So, how much did you know how much traffic that came back? Do you know how many hits came back to the website from all this marketing? I know we're not prepared for this question. I just thought it was interesting. I'm just super interested. Like, did hundreds of millions of hundreds of thousands of people come back, or?
Yeah, hundreds of thousands. I don't have the numbers clear on that, but yeah, of course, like those, they sent hundreds of thousands of visits, and and then the interesting thing is actually you can see how well traffic converts. So it was also on Reddit, and that gets a lot of traffic, but it converts really bad. But let's say a review on like very targeted media, let's say Mac Rumors or Apple Insider or something, that's like that converts at 10% or something.
It's really cool. Yeah, I read Mac Rumors as well sometimes.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I didn't buy an AirPower though. I need to get an Apple Watch first.
Yeah, true.
But no, next time. So is it still available? You're still selling it?
Yeah, we're still selling it, and actually during so we launched it summer last year, and during the holidays around on Black Friday, instead of a discount, we launched a limited Black edition, and
cool.
That did pretty well as well. So
was that pre-sale? Was that pre-sale as well? Did you actually manufacture any before Black Friday, or did you?
Yeah, we manufactured 500 again before Black Friday, and we did some research at our current customer base of, hey, would you buy a black version, or what color would you like to see? And we already had a few comments of review YouTubers, and so they would say, yeah, I mean the whites, I would like it to be black, and that would match better in my interior and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure Marques Brownlee wanted a black one.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he's always on about black everything, matte black everything.
Ah, okay, yeah. Oh, well, I gotta be honest that I'm not so into those.
I like his stuff. It's good.
Oh yeah. So that did really well. Obviously, sales are down now because I mean, during quarantine, buying an expensive wireless charger is not their highest priority. But still, sales are, I would say, remarkably just going on. And especially as we have never done any discounts and not planning to do it ever, we can't complain.
Yeah, I agree. And like we found as well, sales are pretty good at the moment, to be honest, because people are stuck at home looking at the walls thinking, I really want one of those things. Browse the internet 15 hours a day. Like I feel that
True.
It's people are buying stuff, and this could actually be a good time to run retargeting because Facebook ad costs are down as well. And I don't know, just an idea. But very cool. That's really awesome. So I thought that'd be a cool story because I don't know anyone else who's had the same success as you through PR and like those cool projects, and also come to market so fast. Because I know one thing you said in your presentation was that from idea to website live was like a week and a half or something.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like I was actually on Bali, and I had this idea, and it was like, wow, this should be executed fast because I was like, probably more people have the idea. And at the same time, well, we didn't need so much. We just needed a Shopify store and some visuals, and more or less, because I already had the idea, and I had a manufacturer already. So for that, I actually on Bali, I found my co-founder who had a background in industrial design. So it was a perfect match. I would say my skill set in sourcing, supply chain, and marketing. And the most important thing, he also believed in the idea. I think we both had a bit like the same twisted minds on this marketing idea, and he totally believed in it. And at the same time, his skill set was, very design focused. So he could do more or less, I would almost say, the whole front end of the whole project, and I would do the whole back end. And yeah, we worked a week on it, and then we launched it.
Oh, that's really cool. I love those kind of projects where you're like, have an idea and you're like actually making money within like a few weeks. Because too many people like startups, like, I mean, that's kind of the reason I started this podcast. Like, I know we called the Location Independent Startup Show, but mostly, I'm talking to bootstrap guys in our network and guys and women in our network who are, literally just bootstrap everything, get to cash as fast as humanly possible to prove an idea. And then they have a profitable business. Like, obviously it's a bit different with having inventory that we're not technically profitable cash wise, but on paper, I guess you're profitable from your first sale.
Yeah. It's interesting that you're saying it like this. For me, it's like a very natural thing to do. It's like so normal. I would almost say I couldn't imagine, let's say, preparing something a few years and taking on investments and stuff. I just don't enjoy things like that. And maybe it's also because I would on a short attention span, because I really like launching new things fast and getting it featured. That really motivates me to get it into big media feature. And I gotta say, after that, my dedication to a certain project is then also declines. And then back in the days, let's say I started doing this kind of 10 years ago, and sometimes I felt a bit bad that I couldn't motivate myself after I got features in like big media. I couldn't motivate myself to keep pushing it. And so, for example, you said, you could do maybe retargeting, you could do maybe SEO, and I was like, yeah, I know, but I'd rather move on to the next project. And I've been pushing myself so many years to do that, and but since years, I'm like not doing it anymore. I would team up with people to run it, or I would hire people to do those things, and I would put my energy, what I'm good at and what I like doing, and that's starting new projects.
I agree completely, and I have the same problem, which is why I like consulting in some ways, especially when they're consulting with different projects back to back, because I get to see so many people's businesses, jump in, figure out see the big problems, because it's easier to see problems in someone else's business than your own, and then come out again.
Yeah. So that's actually an interesting thing you're saying there, because so while, let's say 10 years ago, this was our main thing to do, the past few years we actually shifted. So actually the wireless charges is just a side project.
Yeah.
I would say more than 80% of our business is more or less consulting, where we do, let's say we get customers come to us sometimes just with a picture of a product and a vague idea. And we would do sourcing, manufacturing, branding, and the whole logistics. And more we, for a few customers these days, we also send orders of their customers directly to their customers. So we more or less do the whole supply chain. Actually, they are just selling. They just do sales and marketing.
But they own the brand. So sorry to interrupt, but they actually own the brand in that case. They own the IP of the brand.
Yeah, sometimes they have a brand where they want to put a new product under. Sometimes they want to start a new brand. Sometimes more like a brand line of a variety of products. And sometimes it's just a single product that they saw somewhere that they also want to sell, like as a private label.
So they have traffic, they have people that want to buy stuff, and you just help them get that stuff with their brand on it, or with a brand on it they own.
Yeah, it's actually a variety. We also work with retailers. So sometimes it's just traditional retail offline, and then of course we just send a container to their DC. But with online parties, what we especially excel at is that as we work with 3PLs in China, the Netherlands, and the US, so we can cover also shipping to their customers anywhere in the world. And what I think our competitive advantage is there, where normally they would need to work with a sourcing company. Sometimes they need to directly interact with a manufacturer, a branding agency, then with some freight forwarder who gets stuff to a logistics party, and then they would need to interact with a fulfillment company. We're taking that all in-house. And I think the biggest difference there is as well that you would talk to the same person, the same, let's say, account manager, whether it's something like a design tweak on the product or whether some orders are not delivered to your end customer.
Nice. So that sounds super valuable. Like, how do you charge for something like that? Because you're basically doing 5 services that somebody'd have to drop several $1,000s per service.
That's a wide variety of. We have it's all very customized and specialized for customers. So we don't have fixed. We sometimes have partnerships. We sometimes work with retainers, and it's pretty complex, I would say, but it's worth it as we are very deeply ingrained with our customers.
That's very cool. And is that something that you're trying to scale massively, or is that just like a nice ongoing business that you work with your current customers, or are you trying to recruit customers quickly? How's that business?
Well, we are currently at a position where we more, I would say, specialize with our customers. So actually what our customers, they're asking us to do more and more projects. So we are more expanding, going deeper with our customers than expanding. And as we are this specific service that it doesn't apply for all companies. Sometimes they have certain things already in place, and we rather offer this full package than just a part of it. So it's only suitable for a specific set of customers. So we are taking on new customers, but they need to be the right fit. And and at the same time, we prefer to go really deep with our customers than just do a few on and off projects.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, as you said, on and off projects is, what you like. This kind of brings us into my second question. I don't want to go in too deep into this, but I thought it was really cool when we've been talking about it. And every time I talk to you recently, you're like, no, I'm super busy trading PPE or moving PPE around the world. So it'd be really cool just to understand what you're doing with that. And because I heard you told me you were kind of doing contracts with the Dutch government.
Yeah. So I think it was 1.5 months ago when I was still in Asia, and the Dutch government, well, I'm Dutch, the Dutch government is like, oh, who can help us get PPE? I was like, well, I can do that. So
and you were just sitting on your own in Bali in a cafe thinking, I can get some PPE for the Dutch government.
No, it was not like that. Actually, my business partner, he has been in trading PPE actually from countries like the Philippines and Thailand to China very early in the crisis. So, and he has been manufacturing PPE before, like the past few years from time to time on projects. So he has the knowledge. So I was like, okay, because I already knew that getting it manufactured while not being on the ground would be a big challenge with not, let's say, partners in China that already know. Of course, you can work with a sourcing company to get it done, but
like quality control, stuff like that.
Yeah,
they're not going to just rip you off.
Yeah, what I learned with sourcing products for 10 years in China, let's say if you have a sourcing company that sources furniture for you and you would ask them, oh, can you source wireless headphones for us? They would say, yes, of course. But I mean, I'm not sure to what extent their knowledge of the actual product would be as good as the knowledge of, let's say, this furniture.
Yeah.
Then I was like, okay, if I want to do that, then I got to team up with someone who has actual knowledge in this field and is actually on the ground in China. So that's what my business partner has. And we started doing that. And we approached the government. And of course, it's a whole different challenge selling to a government body than to a private companies. But at the same time, I learned a lot on dealing with this type of customers, and also getting it actually manufactured in China. It's crazy. Like, getting it's every step in the whole process is a challenge. So getting samples is already difficult because factories will be like, why you need a sample? I have my whole production line is already full. Then getting on the production line, that's a challenge. So then you have people outside of the gates of the factory that are like trying to hawk your
buy stuff off the back of a truck.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly.
Literally,
They're
because it's worth
like,
so much money at the moment.
yeah. So as soon as it is, I would say, manufactured, then it's already worth more. And then getting it out of the country, regulations in China are changing probably every few weeks. And then initially it was more or less okay to export anything. Then there was like a huge backlash in multiple countries because, yeah, the material wasn't as good and people started complaining about, oh, it's again made in China crap. So the Chinese government was like, okay, we're going to ban a lot of PPE that doesn't have the proper certifications or packaging. So then that got changed, and it's a continuous flow of new rules and hiccups that you deal have. And sometimes it's tiring, but on the other hand, it's I think, I mean, for me, I like it so much because it's like a next challenge or something, and I like challenges in that because, I mean, we're manufacturing things for almost 10 years in China now. So I would say, yeah, manufacturing a pair of, let's say, a wireless charger or a pair of wireless earbuds, that's, say, easy. This is a whole different playing field, and that motivates me a lot to keep pushing.
That's really interesting because to most people who doing a product would say wireless earbuds is like something that you would stay well away from because, complexity, technical issues, all these regulations you have to comply with for CE in the US. Whereas PPE, I mean, basic PPE, apart from the fact that, it needs to be compliant with certain PPE regulations, it's quite a simple product as long as the QA
I would
done,
say I agree.
done.
Actual manufacturing of the product it's simple. It's just, I mean, it's almost totally automated and there's no moving parts or anything. But the challenge is now different. It's getting like quality material, and how can you see? That's another big challenge here. Is of course PPE material, but then again, how do you know whether the raw material they use for, let's say, face masks is actually quality? So what we started doing is having it actually tested in laboratories on to what extent it filters stuff. And then you would discover, you can't see that. You just, I mean, you can have two samples that look the same. One filters like the same as just a paper towel, and the other actually filters. So and both have, let's say, proper paperwork and certificates. So that's a different challenge. And then again, of course, let's say if you would manufacture a pair of wireless earbuds just from scratch, so you would totally design and engineer it from starting. Yeah, that's quite a challenge. But we are mainly in private labeling, OEM manufacturing. And then it's not that difficult. There's more or less existing products which we tweak, which we brand, and then move on.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Cool. So that sounds awesome. And I really like the fact of all the challenges and interesting space to be in right now with the fact that the world is going absolutely crazy for PPE. So what are you most excited about at the moment of everything you're working on?
Most excited about is that we are what's a good question. I'm actually pretty excited about that we are that we were, I mean, I didn't realize it so much that we are able to change very swiftly to products that people need. So I recently saw a tweet, I think it was from I don't know, maybe it was Tim Ferriss or something, and he said like a CEO in wartime should in wartime, something like wartime you make products people need, and outside wartime you make products people want. And that really sticks in my head. It's like, okay, we are able to manufacture products that people need, and so we are switching to that. So outside of PPE, we're manufacturing forehead thermometers and all kind of, I would say, coronavirus related products that people really need.
I might have to edit that word out. Apparently you can't say that word on YouTube. I have no idea.
Oh, really?
Somebody said that. Anyway, we'll see. Cool. I mean, that's, it's been really good to chat. And is there anything else? Like, how can people find you? And do you want people to find you? Or are you hiding at the moment?
How can people find me? That's a Good question. I think they can just
reach out. I want, a million sets of earbuds, please.
Yeah, they can just email me, and my email address can be in the description.
Cool. Well, thanks, Gerard. Thanks for coming. It's been super cool. It's always good to chat anyway. I mean, we were hanging out in Bali, 2 months ago, and now we're both stuck in different countries. So
yeah, what a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive. Yeah, indeed. And you missed my my Corona wedding with no one else attending. But yeah, perfect. So thanks, Gerard. Thanks for coming on the show. So
awesome.
Perfect.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
See you.
Bye.